we have great confidence in our son. He is the smartest man I know. I mean, in terms of pure intellectual capacity. And as long as he's good, we're good.
Yeah, as long as he's good, we're good. But that's the question. Is he good? Maybe. It's going to be an interesting gaggle of clips. It is the Chris Plant Show. Mike Opelka in for my buddy Chris Plant. Thanks for being here. Welcome to Tuesday, the 22nd of July. Chris returns a week from today. The ship will return, and so will Chris. As I said, thank you for being here. I also have to say thank you and hello to Sergio. Sergio, yeah, I was at a tennis tournament here in D.C. where Chris's flagship station, WMAL, is based. And my nephew, Riley Opelka, was playing in the first round of the D.C. Open. And I was having trouble with the app that has the ticket on it. I bought my app online, my ticket online, and I'm using this app. And it wasn't showing my ticket. So the kid behind the window at the ticket counter at the big tennis tournament said, "Let me see your phone." I handed it to him. And he goes, "Wait, are you Opelka? Mike Opelka from WMAL, the Chris Plant Show?" I said, "Yes, sir." And he listened. So thank you, Sergio, and thank you for help. He actually got me to the correct ticket, and we saw Riley play. He won yesterday. Great tournament in D.C. Thanks to everybody who puts that together. Saw a lot of good tennis today, and good luck to all the Americans who are out there doing yeoman duty, fighting in the hot sun. It was 93 degrees on the court, and they were out there playing for 2.5 hours. I do not know how they do it. I would be gone. As I said, there's a lot going on today. The president waiting to meet with the president of the Philippines at the White House, and we're expecting there will be an opportunity for media to ask questions, because that's what happens. You know, that's how Donald Trump rolls. He does the picture-taking thing in front of the fireplace, and you have your team on the couch with you and your guest next to you, and there's some optics set up for photos, and then there will be questions. And maybe we'll dip into that. Maybe not. We'll see. But I assume that some members of the media will be jumping in and asking questions about the Epstein files, which there was news this morning saying that the DOJ is maybe having a discussion about sitting down with Ghislaine Maxwell to see what she knows. And we know there is a bipartisan effort in the House to try and force a vote on getting the Epstein files released. That's something that Speaker Johnson says probably not going to happen until after the August recess. So that doesn't look like there's going to be any resolution on that. I, for one, would like to know as much about the Epstein story as possible. Truly. I don't want anybody covered up. I don't want any pedophile given any cover. That's just my opinion. We're also dealing with a myriad topics here as well today. The sad story of the death of Malcolm Jamal Warner, 54-year-old member of the Cosby. Most of us knew him from the Cosby Show. I know he's got other stuff he did in his life. That's the only place I knew him. 54 years old, much too young to go. Leaves a wife and a daughter behind. Died in I guess it was a rip current somewhere in Costa Rica. So prayers out to his family. What a sad story that is. And speaking of sad stories, you heard the clip of Joe Biden saying that Hunter Biden is the smartest person he knows, which, in my opinion, automatically disqualified Joe Biden from being the president. If that's the smartest guy you know, and everything we know about him we learned on the laptop, that's a problem. So in the last couple of days, Hunter Biden has been going scorched earth on his own party. At least I think he's still a Democrat, isn't he? He really has gone absolutely bat crap crazy on them. He's even gone after the some of the leaders in the left side of the mainstream media. The attack on Jake Tapper was crazy. Cut 17, please, Michael.
Who's Jake Tapper's audience? Jake Tapper...
My mom or something? I don't know.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
For real, though. I don't even think it's your mom anymore.
No.
By the numbers, what influence does Jake Tapper have over anything? He has the smallest audience on cable news. And beyond that, I think that the book is right now on Amazon that he put out. I mean, his ratings just went to after he put the book out. You know, they did a 2-week infomercial for it. I mean, it was such a money grab, such a disservice to everybody that he serves with.
The interesting thing here is Hunter Biden is right. The book was a money grab. And the person who knows about money grabs is Hunter Biden. This is a guy who made tens of millions of dollars with his own money grab. He was the guy who was out there doing the money grab. He may have perfected the money grab. Absolutely amazing. Hunter also broke some new territory yesterday that kind of gave us a new spin on why his dad performed so badly in the debate. And this is one I had not heard. We had heard that Joe Biden had a little bit of a cold, remember? After the debate, we were told he had a cold and maybe he took some NyQuil or something, that he wasn't feeling well. But yesterday the clip came out. Hunter Biden talking about his dad and what caused this debate failure.
I know exactly what happened in that debate. He flew around the world, basically, the mileage that he could have flown around the world 3 times.
Yeah.
He's 81 years old. He's tired as They give him Ambien to be able to sleep. He gets up on the stage, and he looks like he's a deer in the headlights.
Well, let's see. He had a full week of preparation for the debate. He wasn't flying around the world 3 times. No, that didn't happen for the debate. It took at least 5 full days at Camp David. And this is the first time we're hearing the excuse of Ambien. This is the very first time we're hearing the Ambien excuse, which is really stunning to me. Very stunning to me. The other end of this, it was kind of weird because while we're in the pharmaceutical department of this Hunter Biden tsunami of clips, we should talk about Hunter and his deep knowledge of crack cocaine. Cut 22, Michael.
You know what I mean? Like,
Well, because they think cocaine, Scarface, very cool. Yeah. Crack cocaine, they think The Wire.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, they don't know how similar the chemical compounds are.
Well, the only difference between crack cocaine and cocaine is sodium bicarbonate and water and heat, literally.
That's it?
That's it.
And those things are pretty much free if you go to, like, a science store.
This is free. You can go to your neighborhood convenience store and just get. Anyway, I don't want to tell people how to make crack cocaine, but it literally is a mayonnaise jar of cocaine and baking soda.
How different is the experience?
It's vastly, vastly different. And like for real, I feel really reluctant to kind of have some euphoric discussion. I know you're not asking me to do that, but have some euphoric discussion about crack cocaine.
I think this might be kind of the opposite here.
Okay, no, it's the exact opposite. I'm saying I don't want to have the experience of some euphoric recall. That's how powerful crack cocaine is. Does crack cocaine make you act any differently? No. Is it safer than alcohol? Probably. People think of crack as being dirty. It's the exact opposite. When you make crack, what you're doing is you're burning off all the impurities so that it combines with the sodium bicarbonate, which makes it smokable. That's all. You know, all of these actors and, people in the past that talked about they had a problem with cocaine and freebasing. They were smoking crack.
So straw on the stove is the same thing?
Not exactly, but close to it. But it's a little bit different. But anyway.
What's really scary about this is, and I do have a soft spot in my heart for anyone who has an addiction. And this guy obviously had a very serious addiction, and they tell you you're addicted for life. There seemed to be a bit of reluctance in Hunter Biden to move forward in the discussion about crack cocaine and how it's made. And I do sense, and I got the feeling, those demons are still there. They're still in his head. And this is a lifelong issue for him. This is still going on. He did talk about things crackheads say, which was also entertaining.
Have you read, I'm going to pretend like you're not getting attacked by a bee right now.
Hey, it's all right.
Keep my train of thought.
Without them, we would all.
Just trying to root. By the way, that's true too. Birds aren't real, but bees are.
So he's a little distracted. Smartest guy Joe Biden knew. Smartest guy Joe Biden knew. It's kind of interesting to see all this as Hunter Biden is now out in a couple of different areas. And he's not just calling out the Democrats for booting his father from the ticket. As I said, he is going fully scorched earth on Democrats. Cut 16, please.
But him and everybody around him don't have to be nice. Number one, I agree with Quentin Tarantino. George Clooney is not a actor. He is a I don't know what he is. He's a brand. And by the way, and God bless him. You know what? He supposedly treats his friends really well. You know what I mean? Buys them things. And he's got a really great place in Lake Como. And he's great friends with Barack Obama. You, what do you have to do with anything? Why do I have to listen to you? What right do you have to step on a man who's given 52 years of his life to the service of this country and decide that you, George Clooney, are going to take out basically a full-page ad in the New York Times to me and James Carville, who hasn't run a race in 40 years, and David Axelrod, who had one success in his political life, and that was Barack Obama. And that was because of Barack Obama, not because of David Axelrod. And David Plouffe and all of these guys, and the Pod Save America guys, who were junior speechwriters in, on Barack Obama's Senate staff, who've been dining out on the relationship with him for years, making millions of dollars. The Anita Dunns of the world, who's made $40-50 million off the Democratic Party. They're all going to insert their judgment over a man who has figured out, unlike anybody else, how to get elected to the United States Senate over 7 times, how to pass more legislation than any president in history, how to have a better midterm election than anybody in history, and how to garner more votes than any president that has ever run. And they're going to replace their judgment for his.
One of the things that really bothers me about that is the pronunciation of the word there. It's not there, it's there. I know I'm nitpicking. It's the ravings of a very angry man. And you have to wonder, is this Hunter or is this Joe? Is this Hunter or is this Jill Biden? You have to wonder, because I do think there's probably a little bit of discussion going on between Hunter and Joe and Jill, especially when you hear how Hunter Biden talked about Nancy Pelosi and AOC and his father getting kicked off the ticket. Cut 25, please, Michael.
They had clearly made a decision. And when I say they, I mean the speaker. And, you know, I heard Alexander Pelosi say something, call my like, put your big girl pants on to my mom or something. And I kind of feel like saying, who do you think you are? I would never speak about your mom that way. Yeah. I would never speak about your father that way. I would never insult your parents that way. Even to this day, I would never.
Even to this day, I would never insult your parents that way. I wonder. I wonder if he's listening to himself and then monitoring what he's saying. One of the things I just saw this from the At Our Table podcast. Hunter Biden talking about his dad. This is beyond the Ambien. This completely different take on Hunter Biden and what happened to his dad.
Because what we did is this, is we watched Joe Biden turn 80, then 81, and then 82. We watched him get old in front of our eyes. Mm-hmm. And that does not mean that you're incapacitated. Mm-hmm. And how can you measure whether someone is incapacitated or not?
I'll tell you how. You have cognitive specialists visit the White House. You have people that are specialists in the decline of the brain visit the White House 8 times in the first 6 months. of last year. But you should have reported to the people about it. That's my take on all the Hunter Biden clips out there. I'm sure there's going to be more, but why do you think this is happening? I think there may be something more to this. Maybe even Hunter Biden thinking he's going to run for president. Well, we'll get to it. You're welcome to join us at 888-630-9625, 888-630-9625. It's Mike Opelka in for Chris Plant from The Chris Plant Show.
Chris here with a list of things that none of us should trust. The Washington Post, the New York Times, anything on CNN. Here's a list of things that I do trust. The Washington Times. Support real journalism for just $1 a week at washingtontimes.com/Chris.
It is the Chris Plant Show. Mike Opelka in for Chris Plant, and I kind of talked myself into a little bit of a hole, so we're going to probably do a little lightning round on the phones. Have your statements ready, people. You know how this works. We try and get through as many as we can, as quick as we can. Before we do that, I had one more Hunter clip I had to play. This was Hunter talking about maybe his political future, maybe running for president. Yeah.
Because I'll tell you what, if I became president in 2 years from now, or 4 years from now, or 3 years from now, I would pick up the phone and call the president of El Salvador and say, you either send them back or I'm going to invade. It's a crime what they're doing. He's a dictator thug.
Bukele or Trump?
Both.
He's filling that swear jar, isn't he? All right, let's go to the lightning round on the phones. Dennis in Chesapeake, Virginia, you've got the floor, sir.
Hey, Michael, let's see if I can say this right. Exclusively, the Hunter interview was about the Hunter pardon. Exclusively.
Well, I do think that was the only pardon Joe actually signed. I think we got proof of that. So I don't know why he'd be nervous about his pardon. He's been pardoned for a decade back, and I think it seems like everything going forward. Very interesting take, though. Thank you, Dennis, and thank you for being concise. Let's go to Dave in Silver Spring, Maryland. Hello, Dave.
Hey, Mike. Hey, Michael. There is something perversely charming about Hunter's candor, whether it's teaching us how to mix up a batch of crack or explaining to us why all the Democrats he knows went into politics to get rich, not for patriotism or love of country or to help their fellow man. It was to get rich. And his candor is charming because he knows he's a moron and he doesn't care who else knows it.
You know, that's really interesting. Why is Hunter Biden so palatable these days? Because he's doing something very unusual in politics. He's speaking the real truth, unfiltered. When you've got a pardon, I guess you could say whatever you want. Or if you're just confident in what you're saying is right, like, I don't know, Donald Trump. You just don't filter it. All right, I'm taking a break. It is Mike Opelka in for Chris Plant on The Chris Plant Show. Welcome back to The Chris Plant Show. Mike Opelka in for Chris Plant. He returns a week from today. Thanks for being here. Trying to get to everything. There's just a fountain, a never-ending fountain of information and clips and fun that we have to deal with today. I have not even addressed the release of the 230,000 pages of information that were included in the Martin Luther King Jr. files. And the left seems to be making hay out of this by saying the family didn't want them released. Really? Why? Why wouldn't you want those released? I mean, if transparency is the answer here, then why wouldn't you want transparency? Especially if it shows some of the stuff that was done in terms of investigating Dr. King that a lot of people felt very uncomfortable with. But if it shows who the real man was, why can't we see that? If you're demanding transparency on the Epstein side, what's wrong with the transparency on the Dr. King side? His legacy will live forever, I'm sure. Just wondering. throwing that out there. And then the other story that's kind of tied in to the Epstein story is the story that Attorney General Pam Bondi is saying that her Department of Justice is reaching out and seeing if there's anything to be learned from a sit-down with Ghislaine Maxwell. And I wonder, has Maxwell been sitting on information that would have gotten her set free all these years? You have to wonder, seriously, what could she have? This is one of those questions I'm asking, and maybe you've got the answer, 888-630-9625. I certainly don't know. Let's ask Mike in Gainesville, Virginia. Hello, Mike. Welcome to the Chris Plant Show.
Good morning, Michael Pelka. How are you?
I'm good, sir. You have a thought on this?
Well, I got a lot of thoughts on this, but the Keystone coppery that's going on here at our Department of Justice and trying to nail down this Epstein case is amazing that they can have a list that's on her desk 6 months ago, but then she mixes it up with the JFK and the MLK cases files, and then she thinks it's just about child porn obsession, and she keeps fumbling the ball here, and now we have to do an interview with Ghislaine in person. We can't do it over the phone. We can't do it on Skype. We have to travel all the way to the prison and do it in person. Just killing, running out the clock here on this whole Epstein thing. It's just amazing that we think somehow we're going to get answers from her when they have terabytes of information that they collected from the island and his mansion in New York. They didn't raid his mansion in Paris, but I'm just saying they have all this information and they act like they don't have an ability to index it or list the evidence properly and get a list of potential clients of the Epstein blackmail. It's just ludicrous.
I don't know if that's fully accurate. I don't know if all that's fully accurate. I agree with you that you have to wonder what we're going to get from Ghislaine Maxwell by sitting down with her. But I do prefer an in-person discussion with someone as opposed to just doing a phone call, because and you could do a Zoom call, I guess, where you could see them, but they're going to want to be there. And I don't know if the Attorney General actually came out and said that, yes, there was a situation involving the JFK files and the MLK files that was preventing her from releasing the Epstein files. I think you might be conflating that. But there has been a couple of statements, especially from people like Attorney Alan Dershowitz, who was the lawyer for Jeffrey Epstein, who came out on the 15th of July with a piece in the Wall Street Journal, an opinion piece that said, look, I was his lawyer. I know the facts, some of which he can't disclose because it's privileged, or there's been a court-imposed blocking of that information. But he can say things like there never was a client list. And that's now what the administration is saying. He's also saying that there never were incriminating videos taken by hidden cameras in his guest bedrooms. There are videotapes, but they're in public areas of his Palm Beach home. That's what he's saying. He's saying open records show an acquaintance with Trump and Epstein many years ago that ended when Trump has, and it's been long reported, banned him from Mar-a-Lago before he became president. So there are some interesting cases to be made, but why can't we hear more from Alan Dershowitz? He has said he's willing to sit and tell everything he's allowed to tell. And that's one of the things I would like to say. If you're going to talk to Ghislaine Maxwell, then let's have Alan Dershowitz sit down and let's give him the ability to say everything that he knows. I would like to see that happen. Does that bring any comfort to you at all, Mike?
No, it ignores that he had employees that were running the cameras, in a recording room in each of his mansions. It's ludicrous that we all seem to drop the ball here and fumble and think we have to talk to people like Dershowitz to get the information. The FBI is on camera collecting the information at these locations. They just seem to lose track of their own evidence when they need to.
But Mike Dershowitz has said very publicly, I was Epstein's lawyer. There were no cameras in the bedrooms. They were in the public areas. So are you totally discounting his statements?
Yes, Dershowitz is wrong on that.
Okay, well, were you Epstein's lawyer?
No, but the government.
Then how do you know this?
Dershowitz didn't get the evidence he thought he was getting. He didn't get a complete file from the government. The government's hiding the information.
Now, how can you be certain of this is what I'm asking you, Mike. You make these claims, and you sound very confident in it, but here you have a man.
I'm not going to be able.
Mike, stop for a second. You have a man who was Dershowitz's attorney who has said, I know there were no cameras in the bedrooms. They were in public areas. There are videos of those public areas. How are you so sure that he's wrong?
I can only go off what I've heard from other sources. But the point is, we're not in court. I'm not going to be able to prove anything on the radio right now. What I'm saying is the government has a history of hiding information they don't want lawyers to get. That's what's clearly going on in the Epstein case, and we're all playing dumb on this.
Well, you can't say that's what's clearly going on. That's just, you can make that, it's an opinion, but that's not, none of that will hold up in court. I would like to hear more from Dershowitz, the same way I'd like to hear more from Ghislaine Maxwell. Let's see if it happens. I appreciate you, Mike. Thank you for being there. It's a very emotional topic, is it not? It is. The other story that I'm hoping we hear more of is what Tulsi Gabbard has put out, what the Director of National Intelligence has put out. And if we get to the bottom of this, so many people are saying, I want to see Obama brought up on charges. I want to see all this. The assumptions that Tulsi Gabbard has made are pretty damning. But remember back when the left was telling us that the Russians hacked our election and Trump was selected by Russia and all this stuff. And then we did have, after the election, Obama came out and said, no, there was no Russian interference. There absolutely was zero Russian interference. He also said Russia was weak. He said Russia couldn't hurt us.
The Russians can't change us or significantly weaken us. They are a smaller country. They are a weaker country. Their economy doesn't produce anything that anybody wants to buy except oil and gas and arms.
Yeah, they do have oil and gas and arms. But if you go back to the 2017 plus era, the Russians were the evil empire that the left and the media were certain had absolutely hacked our elections.
Russia hacking the election to elect Trump is the end of our democracy. Votes were definitely affected. Russia hacked the election to tilt it to Mr. Trump.
The Russians definitively hacked the election.
Russia did hack the election. No doubt. The Russians hacked the election.
Yes. Russia hacked the election.
Fact, Russia hacked the election.
President-elect Donald Trump still not sounding convinced that Russia hacked the election.
The president does not want to come to terms with the fact that the Russians hacked the election.
President Trump says he still wonders if the Russians hacked the election.
If you can get him to accept that Russia hacked the election, see if you can get him to accept who won the Civil War.
Yeah, now you know why Colbert's been canceled. Yeah, that montage goes on for at least another minute and a half. They are absolutely, or were absolutely certain. They were certain that the Russians hacked the election and Hillary Clinton was given short shrift. And they were convinced because they claimed 17 agencies. It's almost like you could have a montage with a little music behind it talking about how many times the Democrats and their friends in the media claimed that 17 agencies had seen this happen.
It's come from the highest levels of the Russian government, clearly from Putin himself, in an effort, as 17 of our intelligence agencies have confirmed, to influence our election.
Was the consensus of all the intelligence agencies and law enforcement.
Our nation's 17 federal intelligence agencies.
17 agencies came to a consensus conclusion.
We have 17 intelligence agencies.
The intelligence communities have concluded, all 17 of them, that Russia interfered with this election. And we all know how that's right.
I am not quoting
has
myself.
no idea.
I am quoting
Hillary, you
17,
have no idea.
17 do you doubt 17
Our
military
country has
and
no idea.
civilian agencies?
There were only 3 agencies that directly involved in this assessment, plus my office.
But all 17 signed on to that.
Well, we didn't go through that process. But I knew to be who could really contribute to this and the sensitivity of the information. We decided it was a conscious judgment to restrict it to those 3.
Consensus of all the intelligence agencies.
17 agencies. 17 intelligence agencies.
17. I wonder if we're going to get the real story in this. I hope we do. And I think Tulsi Gabbard is getting us closer to it. I really think she is. We will see. I want to do a couple of things here. I want to make sure we have a little time for one final lightning round to go over what we have covered today. We covered a lot of things today. I also want to check in with the president, who welcomed the Philippines president to the Oval Office. They're having a little sit down and taking some questions from the media. Will there be a question that doesn't focus on our trade deal or upcoming trade deal with the Philippines and instead focuses on the Epstein list? We will see. We will see. And there may be one final special clip to share with you as well. If you want to join the conversation, it's 888-630-9625, 888-630-9625. You know the rules of the lightning round. Be ready to rock and roll and get to it. It's Michael Pelkin for Chris Plant on the Chris Plant Show. It is the Chris Plant Show. Michael Pelka in for my friend Chris Plant, the president, in the Oval Office as we speak, sitting down with the Philippine president. Now, one of the interesting things about the Philippines, our relationship with the Philippines, I think is critical because of China's designs on the waters around the Philippines. It's one of those strategic areas in the Pacific that China has been trying to say, we're going to take control of this area. And I think it is important for us to, maintain our base there, as well as making sure we have good trade with the Philippines. And we will see. Now, the president is obviously getting some questions about his trade deal talks, but also questions about what's going on with what DNI Tulsi Gabbard told him about the release of the documents as it relates to the conspiracy that Gabbard has outlined, saying that the Obama administration really did go after Donald Trump. And we'll see if there's more to come out of this, especially as it relates to the Epstein files as well, which we talked about all this stuff today. The Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, has said there won't be a vote on release of the Epstein files until after the recess. I believe that's probably going to cause a few questions to be raised. We will see. We will see. I want to do a lightning round. I want to give you, the fabulous audience, a chance to get through some questions, and we'll try and address some of these issues before we get out of here. You know the rules in the lightning round. Get your point out as quickly as possible because there are folks lined up and ready to go. So let us get to Chuck, who's listening in Cedar Hill, Tennessee, on the WMAL app, the flagship station of the Chris Plant Show. Hello, Chuck. Welcome to the Chris Plant Show.
Hello there, Mr. Michael Pelta. Thank you very much for doing such a great job. And I'd like to put out my point where our forefathers wanted to create a society that was ruled by God, where we follow the law of God, which was the Ten Commandments, and where only God has the power over life and death, not man. That's why our society has prospered like no other.
Well, yeah, there is, that, Chuck, that's a really interesting take. William Penn, the late, great William Penn, had what he called the holy experiment when he talked about the founding of Pennsylvania. And if you've ever been to the Capitol in Pennsylvania, there is a beautiful series of paintings, murals that tells the story of America as based on William Penn's holy experiment. And they are painted by a brilliant 20th century American artist named Oakley. That's her name. I got to get her first name. But if you've ever been to the State House in Pittsburgh, Violet Oakley. Violet Oakley was the painter. You should visit the state houses and see the Holy Experiment. It really lays it out. It's absolutely stunning. The copies of all these paintings used to be in 300 public libraries around the country and in some university libraries. I don't know what happened to them, but thank you, Chuck. You're right. The Holy Experiment. Check it out. Let us go to Hank in Tampa, Florida. Hank, welcome to the Chris Plant Show. You're on.
Hey, Michael. I just wanted to say that I heard that when Ghislaine Maxwell was arrested, that her little black book was sealed immediately by a judge.
Well, I haven't heard that one. There has been a black book of Epstein's, not of Ghislaine Maxwell's, but that black book with minor redactions has been published in various places for years. But we'll see. I do think there is transparency coming on this. But thank you, Hank. Appreciate it. Let's go to Mike in Clear Lake City outside of Houston. Hello, Mike. Welcome to the Chris Plant Show.
Say, I was listening earlier, you was talking about to that guy. There's no black book, there's no list, there's no file, there's no cameras, there's no video, there's no DVD. All we keep hearing is there's no. Well, then what in the world they use to convict Ghislaine Maxwell with?
Well, I do believe Ghislaine Maxwell was convicted on the testimony of some of Epstein's victims. So, yeah, there may be some questions about whether or not there are additional documents. But, when you have victims who have stood up and made their case, and you did have a conviction of Epstein in the past, I think that's what she's got her conviction of. So that's interesting. But thank you, Mike. Appreciate you being there. Let's go to Chris in New Hampshire. Hello, Chris. Welcome to the Chris Plant Show.
Hi, Mike. I was just saying that basically the videos, Bondi, the AG, suggested that it's kiddie porn. So I think Dershowitz, he's just paying. I listen to him a lot on ABC in New York. Even though I'm a transplant from New York. But, I'm sick of Dershowitz talking. He says a lot of things, but he gets paid to say them.
Well, maybe if we get him under oath, that story will have a different message. Let's see. We'll see what happens. So much. I couldn't believe we didn't get to everything today. They just, as Chris likes to say, give us too much. We will give you everything we get out of the Oval Office meeting and anything else that bubbles up tomorrow as well. It's Michael Pelka saying thank you to everybody who joined us today. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Michael. And reminding you, testudo, my friends. Testudo.